Right, I'm here with Vincent Chandler, otherwise known as Pleasant Kenobi.
That is me, yep.
Man, I'm really excited to sit down with you. I've been a fan for a while, watching the YouTube clips from the early days and seeing where that's taken you on social media.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey, that's for sure.
And it's super cool to see you come through CommandFest yesterday and be like, hey, Pleasant Kenobi's here, that's great. And I just want to say thank you for sitting down with me for a couple of minutes.
No, not at all. This is always fun to do, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wanted to just get to know a bit about who Pleasant Kenobi is, aka Vincent Chandler, and what the origin story's been. So, like, you know, how did you get into Magic?
Some kid on my block taught me to play with like 2 mono blue decks from like Portal, so like bumping Sage Owls into each other, and somehow that captured my imagination. But yeah, I've been playing since like Portal. I'm playing like I have a nostalgia for the muskets that the white cards had back then, and the castles and stuff. And then I got started events, going to like bookstores, because we didn't have any game stores in the South, right? Back when Eventide was a thing. And then from there, just starting up pre-releases and then going to like Axion events and back in the day, PTQs, then PPTQs and GPTs and stuff like that.
All of the competitive play acronym events.
Exactly. Yeah. So I started out as a real casual and then got super into standard around like Innistrad time, and that's when I started doing like Axion events and stuff like that. You know, the backbone of the UK competitive scene in many ways.
It's crazy to think Portal. I mean, you're one of the only people I've ever spoken to where Portal, which was intended to get people into Magic, actually didn't.
No one talks about it. I mean, the exact timing maybe not, because I remember Denizens in the Deep was like the biggest creature that a couple of my friends who played, they were aware, like, Denizens in the Deep is the biggest creature ever. And I don't think it even was at the time, because I think
it was in Portal.
Yeah, maybe it was. Yeah, and then like Mirrodin was just around the corner or whatever. But like I had those as Saga cards as well in my collection as a kid. I've still got like all haggard from playing on concrete and stuff. So maybe I started earlier, but I remember a lot of Portal, all the box with the Portal shape on it.
Yeah, with the sword and the shield for power and
Yeah, exactly. And I've got some of it. I plan to do some retro box openings on the channel. I haven't got around to it. So I bought some Portal starter kits and stuff. That's why I got into it.
So you 2 mono blue decks smash against each other.
I just remember these Sage Owls.
I'm impressed you got into it.
Talos airships as well. Like a 3/2 for 4 and it flies.
Yeah,
which is actually reasonable even for that time, I guess.
Iconic artwork as well.
Yeah, exactly. I love all of that. All the airships and that's why I've got Vision and Port and a Weatherlight tattooed on me, because that's like. It just feels like they're part of the retro part of Magic and stuff.
So that's how you got into Magic, but you've taken sort of what you've done with Magic and you've sort of become a big name online, and you know, if you Google MTG or you're looking,
sometimes it's me,
yeah, exactly, right. It's cool. So how did that come to be? How did that transpire? Was that through Magic or something else?
It was through Magic. Well, I did what a lot of people do, is make videos about video games on YouTube that no one watches because it's a super saturated thing and no one cares, right? And then one day I filmed myself playing some Modo and talking about it, and that got a bit more traction than the video game stuff. And the big one was I used to joke about playing these meme decks that I'd never play at FNM, because you can't afford to sleeve them up, like Mono Red Tron or BE combo where you blast sack with a Hornet's Nest and stuff. But on Modo, you just it's very quick to get things together, especially cheap memes, right? So I made Mono Red Tron, which is a deck that Bane fires people for lethal or plays blast sack and Stuffy Dog. It's a stupid deck. And I did this thing where I cut out all the gaps in the gameplay, and then I narrated after the fact and put it over the top and cut to the audio, so it was tighter. And no one was doing this. Like even Andrea Mangucci's and Reed Duke's, there's loads of pauses and you can hear someone washing the dishes in the background. That's what Magic content was like, right? Like even at the time, Saffron Olive and Goldfish weren't cut.
I dipped my toes in as well. That was definitely my streams.
That's how everyone's content was. And I edited this thing, I put it on Reddit, and overnight it got like several thousand views, unheard of for a video that I put out. And then I was getting push notifications on my phone. I had to turn off push notifications on YouTube. My wife's like, what's going on? I'm like, YouTube's got loads of comments for the first time. So I kept replicating that and then expanded from there. So I started out memeing a lot, and then I became more commentary on the game and retrospection on the game and gameplay from time to time as well.
Because I remember your videos were easy to share with other people, especially like people who had not played Magic in a while or ex-players, because it wasn't a 50-minute grinding video.
I tried to get them.
I've lost interest. It was like
get them right down, jokes. Usually you didn't even have to necessarily understand the rules of the format. So a lot of people got into modern. People come up to me and say they got into Modern or Legacy by watching me play meme decks in Modern or Legacy, because it makes it more accessible. So the Legacy video, the famous one is I say famous. It's got a few 100,000 views or whatever. Is Mono Blue Minotaurs in Legacy. So you play a didgeridoo, change all creature types in your hand into Minotaurs. You put Grizzlebind and Emrakul in. It's a bad show and tell. It's a bad show and tell deck, but it's very funny because people are like didgeridoo, and you'll get a pause on Modo. Oh, we've got a reader, because at one point no one knew what didgeridoo did, and now didgeridoo is weirdly an actual fringe tier deck now.
Yeah.
Like tier 3 deck that plays it. But yeah, that was the kind of stuff I was doing, making formats and Magic a bit more accessible. I always thought Arena would help with that, but then Arena's not accessible from a financial standpoint. So that's a whole different kettle of fish. So.
We got lots of avenues.
Yeah, there's a lot we could talk about with that, yeah.
So in terms of like community, I think there's maybe 2 communities I want to touch base on. Like, I'm asking a lot of people this weekend what does community mean to you.
Mm-hmm.
For you, is it like kind of 2 streams if you've got like that online community and you've got that sort of real life, kind of in the flesh community?
Yeah.
How does that work for you and what does it mean to you?
Because, well, they are separate because a lot of the people that I interact with regularly in terms of content creators and just people who are like viewers across the globe, right? Like my audience is like 60 to 80% American at any one time. So, for example, at this CommandFest, we did a Patreon meetup, and there's like a dozen of us where there's a lot of patrons, but they're all Americans. So there is an element of that, but that's also an interesting part of Magic, that it is worldwide, right? And we are, England and the UK is a small fish in that whole pond because America's the focus. But yeah, there's online, and then there's also like there is a separate part of the community which was the old school before COVID at least. You go to an event and you'd see all the people you know, you'd see the grinders, you'd see the people who would sit down. Back when we had player registration, that's alphabetical. You'd always sit down with the same people, right? With the same surname initials.
Anyone for surname M, I'm like, I know you.
Yeah, exactly.
Graham McIntyre for me every time.
Yeah, and I was always near the Axion boys, his names began with C and stuff, so they'd always be there. Like, anyway.
Oh, the Channings.
Yeah, the Channings, that was it. The Channings. So both of them would always be near me opening sealed pools.
And David Carr.
Yeah, actually, that's how I know David, is through that sort of stuff. So there's the 2 sides, but they do cross over, and they're starting to cross over more. And there's a weird thing of like people I met at this event who'd never been to a event before because they never really played Modern or Legacy or Standard. Yeah. So they've come to this for Commander, just shouting about the event there's a second ago. And people on my Patreon have come and said, oh, it's because they've got quite into my online community, but also it's a bit more accessible in a way because it's Commander and sealed and stuff like that.
The pressure's not there. It's not a tournament vibe, is it?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Event.
So I've met loads of people at this event who are like, this is my first event. Someone went, oh, look at all this power. And I was like, oh, this is quite normal at a GP. And I'm like, a GP? I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough. It's all about vendors with all the power.
That's true, though, yeah, because the first time I went to a GP, it's the first time you see a Black Lotus or a Mox.
Yeah, you get kind of sensitized, you get used to it. You're like, oh, it's just like maybe 7 booths and they're all going to have power out and a class of it. Open, you buy it. And then you come here and then the guy said it, I was like, huh, I guess, this is, it's cool to see for the first time. Yeah. It's one of the exciting things about GPs and conventions and events.
That's exactly. I didn't think of it like that because after like 3 or 4 GPs and seeing so many traders, you're like, okay, cool, I've seen them. Well, they're just cards
I
now,
remember going to GP Birmingham, Dark Ascension. I think it was my first GP. We got Goblin Guard as a promo.
Time,
and Sorin and Gravecrawler were the things we were trying to crack from packs. Back when cracking packs was actually a thing people did, unlike now where a lot of packs have got bad EV. Anyway, the point I'm getting at is seeing people play Legacy for the first time, and then seeing they used to occasionally get an 8-man vintage with fire, right? And people would know and people would walk over and watch from afar. That doesn't really happen anymore because people don't play vintage anymore. But the first time seeing that, you're like, those are doors. Oh my god, that's a workshop. Like, that's crazy. It's a cool part of the convention experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely. It's old school is the thing now, and I've definitely walked past and you kind of see. It's a Black Lotus, is it? Like you see someone with like a triple sleeve deck or a bunch of people with a triple sleeve deck, and you're like, hang on a minute.
Yeah, and everything is old border as well, isn't it? They allow you to play new border Savannah Lions and stuff, which is weird. But old school's taken over for vintage, and to understand Legacy for the thing you want to like spot and see and get a bit of a vicarious enjoyment out of someone else having all these ridiculous cards or whatever. Yeah,
or just to say I've seen it.
Yeah, it's a spectacle, right? That's part of the appeal of vintage in a weird way. We'll get into a thing that people don't give a crap about, but yeah, like vintage is exciting because it's so wild. You're like, what? Yeah. Like I put out a video recently where the deck cost 26 grand, like because it was like a 80 card Yorion deck with all this power in it, like a vintage deck. People will watch that who didn't care about vintage, like $26,000. You're like, well, that's pretty cheap in some ways. It's exciting, right?
It was a YouTube video of like someone opening the rarest. I don't know if it's Pokemon or Magic. And it people who'd never played.
I think there's 2 or 3 super viral Lotuses being opened on camera. There's 1 or 2, maybe 3 on YouTube, and there's 1 or 2 Charizards and stuff as well. They go mainstream viral. Like the Magic Man Sam, Mystic Studies, his Black Lotus video. He's not opening the Lotus, but he's talking about Lotus. And that video, New York Times was showing it and stuff.
It's like pop culture now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And that's in a weird thing. That's what I'm trying to do with newer videos as well. I take things for granted. I'm like, yeah, it's power, or oh yeah, I know about Summer Magic. And then you talk to someone like, what the hell is Summer Magic? You're like, oh, it's an interesting story. So now I'm starting to do content that is aimed at okay, let me tell you a thing that I take for granted exists and we know as enfranchised Magic players. But if you got into Command in the last 4 years, you don't know about Volcanic Island being missing from one of the earlier sets. Those sort of interesting tidbits. People are like, oh, wow. And people all get excited and find it interesting. And you're like, okay, I need to make videos about that. Cool.
Yeah. So what, in terms of sort of, we touched on community, and I want to talk about sort of memories that you have through Magic. So again, it might be multifaceted in like, I've got these online memories and I've got these sort of physical paper Magic memories. But in terms of like feel goods and great experience you've had over the years, what would be like sort of maybe a top 3 or a couple of cool memories?
I'm in a weird position and a privileged position where Magic is a massive part of my life. So in the last 5 years, I've done crazy exciting things to do with Magic that kind of take the biscuit a little bit. So I guess I could separate them. So pre-making a lot of content and having a bit of success with that, my favorite memories were always GPs. It was the road trips. GPs being big events, right? They're not called GPs anymore. They'll be called something else when they finally...
Magic Fest,
Magic
right?
Fest, yes, Magic Fest. With a GP main event, that's not called a GP, it's called like a regional or whatever. Still called a GP. Yeah, it's a GP main event, right? But like getting like 2 cars up, you fill the cars with people, you do a road trip, you stop at Fleet Services or wherever it is, get your road chicken, and then you're all like... I remember my first GP was like 6 guys in a room. It was not great, but it was part of the experience. And we drafted Innistrad and Dark Ascension on the floor on a carpet in the room. Those sort of things, right? That was really fun memories for me. And then going and then like getting in the Chaos Drafts before they dry up and seeing the vintage shit. All these things that are to do with events. I know we're at an event now and we're kind of promoting the event. It sounds like I'm saying that to be cliche, but I think the thing that made me really fall head over the heels in love with Magic was part of the community and also just going to these events and kind of it's big and exciting. And that's why I believe strongly that we need to focus on getting them back to where they were.
See, I remember so my group, we were always doing like PPTQs, you know, random places in the UK,
in schools,
villages we'd never heard
village
of.
halls and schools. Yeah. Actually, just one at schools, right? So.
And it was always the drive home. I remember like 4 hours driving home. What we're going to do? And we'd just be talking about Magic or playing Magic quizzes with each other.
Yeah, and one person will be like, "Oh, can we not talk about Magic?" And everyone's like, "No, but we still want to talk about Magic." Or bad beat stories, or someone didn't make top 8s. They're just complaining about how unlucky they were. It's part of the Magic experience.
Knocking your friend out of the top 8 and then driving you home when you drive an MO map was...
Oh, I've got one. Not for me. I've got one better of a story. I won't name the 2 individuals, but someone fumbled in how they explained splitting to somebody and had to get DQ'd from a PPTQ by a judge who'd driven them up to the event. So they'd driven from the south to Wales, got DQ'd, and had to drive back with them.
That must have been an amazing car ride.
I was meant to go back with them. And I was like, I'm going to get a lift with the other guy. That's cool. But like, I got to do some coverage of CFB in LA, and that was really exciting and interesting. So I got to be on camera and do the floor stuff. And although I didn't want to do it again afterwards, it's a lot of hard work. Coverage is hard work, by the way. If coverage ever comes back, respect how hard work it is. But doing it once, that was really exciting. And then like,
so that's in the booth doing the.
So I didn't. So I was doing floor commentary. So I got to like go around the floor and pick people out and interview them. So I got to have a bit of creative control of that. So I was like, oh, there's a legacy event, a Pauper event. Let's get a top 8 of those. Talk to them. Yeah. I ridiculed this guy. Had like gone top 8 with Burn or Boggles in Pauper. And I was like, how does it feel to get in top 8, especially with a deck like Burn or Boggles? And the guy was like, and I put the mic in, and he was like stunned that I'd mocked his deck. I was like, yeah, it's fine. That was an incredible experience. So there's like the pre-events and post kind of events. Yeah. And then like, and getting recognition for videos and stuff. That's the other thing, right? Like so find your video going viral on Reddit and you're like, wow, people like me talking about Magic. This is sick. Yeah. So those are the good memories.
So I guess I was reminiscing with you on the way to sitting down for this interview about the sort of the famous for me, it was the Pascal Maynard video. Where he's deliberating, do I take the foil glaive, do I take the better card?
Yeah, it's Burst Lightning. It's Burst Lightning versus 4
That was it. And you put the countdown music behind it. What is it like? The angel starts singing as he opens the
cash
pack.
registers as well and stuff. I recently did a follow-up video to that, unpacking the whole thing, because a lot of pros were really upset about it with him, weren't they? There's a lot of...
There was a huge discussion about was it the right move?
And some of it was really like harsh, and there's this like, I'm going to say this, there's like a retroactive, almost like cleansing of history. People like, oh no, we're all just being playful and joking. Like, no, there's 2 pros on the CFP team who had to apologise publicly for being too harsh.
People had opinions on that decision.
So more power to him. It's a good bit of Magic history, and I think Magic history is exciting as well. That and like top decks from the sea from Kibler. Those clips you see,
days, bonfire for down.
Tap the deck. Or one of my favourite ones in terms of this is Magic moments that aren't mine, but when the Thief counts out Cruel Ultimatum mana, he's got to rip a card. So I'm going to draw a step, I'm going to tap my 7 mana. Is it crawl? And he rips a crawl and he wins the game. I think getting goes to top 8 from that or wins the thing.
That was outrageous.
Yeah.
And
ripping top decks is good.
Our local boy Craig Jones, UK man, like the Lightning Helix.
Oh, that is Craig Jones, of course. He's here today, isn't he?
Yeah. We'll have a chat with him at some point.
Yeah.
But so those are sort of some good memories for you. What about today? Anything that's come out from today or yesterday?
No,
even,
absolutely. So I played Many Limited yesterday. I did Mystery Booster Seal, which is a sick, unusual thing to do. And then we went into the 3 rooms and we drafted a box of Island Masters. So I did all limited yesterday. But in the Mystery Booster and the Commander today, the thing I've noticed is that the vibe is different to a normal GP. So there is a lot of new players. There are people like one dude in the Mystery Booster yesterday. One of my friends said, "Roll highest for who goes first." Oh no, they rolled highest. I went, do you want to go on the draw or the play? And this guy was like, "You're just saying words I don't understand." He'd never rolled dice to pick first or second because he played Arena, played Commander at home, and never played 1v1. But my point is, there's a load of people who are coming up to play Mystery Booster Seal because it's exciting and weird, like a pre-release, or just play Commander for the first time, and it is like their first event, seeing the power for the first time, learning colloquialisms like roll for play or draw, like stuff like that. So it seems like
those are special moments. Those are milestone moments in other people's kind of Magic journey that you're getting to see, right?
But it was also like, it shows that these kind of events, CommandFests, do bring that barrier down to not like, it gets rid of a bit, I guess, maybe the stigma of like sweaty competitiveness. So people will come along and have casual games. I do believe the two can coexist quite in harmony. You don't need to actually, as Wizards are currently doing, separate them out so severely. But there's a vibe and a very, also a lot of like kids, more women than there was pre-pandemic. Like this is just a thing of Magic growing and improving over time.
The diversity is swelling
much
in this game,
better.
which is
exactly. So,
lovely to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Commander helps with that because Commander's like a much more welcoming format than say standard rotation or modern or legacy. Although I still think those things are great. I'm just saying I think Commander brings a different access point to Magic. I guess.
Well, there was a saying, and I don't know how true it is, but it's like 1 in every 10 Magic players who plays Magic plays in what's called a sanctioned Magic, official Magic play, and 1 in every 10 of those plays Magic competitively. So for every 100 Magic players that exist, 1 of them might rock up to a competitive event. So what do those other 99 do? And I think an event like this opens the door a little more to the 99 other people that go, do you know what?
I do wonder if Wizards over-exaggerate those numbers a little bit too... I won't be too critical here, but I think they're like, oh, you're one of the 1 out of 99, so actually we're doing fine and we're exempt from criticism. I do think they use it a little bit as a deflection, but there is definitely going to be truth in it, right? Like you said, 1 in 100 has ever been to anything beyond FNM. And only 1 in 10 at best has been to an FNM. So this definitely opens the doors.
It for sure, opens the door. Like you were saying, you've got people who've rocked up to this event who've never. It's amazing to hear someone going, I don't know what play or draw is. Because it just shows that where the game is going and the transition that we're in at this point in time. And I guess it's a responsibility for people, yourself, myself, other people in the hall who have been playing for years, to go, actually, okay, cool, this is your first time playing. I'm not playing for like 16 booster boxes or a flight to another country. I'm playing for 10 tickets.
And
so I can use this as an opportunity maybe to just have some fun with this person.
Absolutely, and it also it allows people to like develop that conversation around like the power level conversation, the rule 0 conversation, like is your deck a 7, all that. Some of this is a bit nonsensical, doesn't really work, but it's part of that responsibility and community drive at the moment to incorporate that, and these sort of things motivate us to do that, because I've sat down at a table this morning with somebody who evidently hasn't really had that conversation before. So I'm like, oh no, I don't want to pub stomp is the term, isn't it? Pub stomp. You stomping the public or whatever. So those conversations are things that the community are just getting to grips with now. That's a big talking point online, right? It's like, how do we figure this out? And power level isn't necessarily the correct way to do it, because one man's 6 is another man's 2 or whatever, you know. But yeah, definitely. Really we're incentivized to take responsibility and invite people in and get the game to be more inclusive and more inviting, I guess.
And it's events like this where I see that change. I see that difference coming in. I
do think though we could have side events for like modern stuff, right? Like I don't think those things existing take away from that. Like even if the CommandFest is the main focus, having a CommandFest and a GP, because a GP is the main event of a Magic Fest, right? So having a GP event and a CommandFest at the same time doesn't detract from that. I'm hoping in time, as this builds a follow, these kind of events people are following, people will itch for the old GP style thing as well. They can come together and we get like super events. We can just fill the NEC with Magic players playing both casual and try and take a shot.
I mean, it was always my vision, and what I wanted to see was a celebration of the game and showcasing the most epic parts of it.
I think both sides help with that. There's a weird contrast to wargaming. I'm going to mention Warhammer for a second, where their big events are just competitive tournaments and kind of sometimes they have a narrative thing on the side.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of talk about how do we get these things to blow up and be bigger like conventions. And I'm saying like you need artists there, you need vendors there, and there's all things that a lot of them are like, oh no, we can't possibly do that. I'm like, well, Magic has successfully done this, and is growing towards that. If we have the casual side, we have the big tournaments bit, we have Artist Alley, we have vendors. It's much more of a convention feel.
Yeah, and if you're down,
so Magic does it pretty well compared to other stuff.
For sure, like, and the amount of GPs where, and you know, we both played in events where you're on fire, and the only thing in your head is sort of, can I qualify for the prize? Can I make the top 8 in a Grand Prix to take me to Florida, to America, to Asia, to play on the Pro Tour? And then there's the exact same event 3 months later where you lose 3 or 4 games on the bounce.
Don't make day 2.
You now no longer, you know, there's no longer kind of about playing in that main event. It's like, what can I do? Actually, I still had just as good a time in this event because I got some cards signed by John Avon or Rob Alexander, or I got to trade and look at all these shinies that I got that I can't find like in my local.
You're 100% right, because there's 2, like some of the events that I remember very, very fondly, like the Birmingham that I mentioned, is just like mucking about with my mates and drafting on floors and things like that. That's because like we've all scubbed out of the main event, right? Everyone has scubbed out. Or one person's doing well and they're off in their own world. But then I've also got fond memories of GPs where I've day 2 and I'm like on the verge of cash or whatever. And they're 2 very different experiences, and both of them are valid and both of them are exciting. And both of them, I believe, can coexist in the same event space.
Yes.
Because I say it's about miniature wargaming too. You go to an event, you lose your first round, like there's no pressure anymore. You're like, I'm out of contention, I can just have fun playing the game. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there should be a bit of that as well, where you go to the artist alley or the vendors and you go play Command or Chaos Drafts. We should get Chaos Drafts in the way.
So I guess one last question I got for you then. Like, we're back. This is the first time I've been to a 400-player Magic event, like an event over maybe 16 players actually since 2019. Don't know about yourself, but like, what are you looking for moving forwards? What is the next stage for you? What's on your wish list of sort of epic events, Premier Play, things like that?
I want to see. So Magic is thriving, right? Magic has got more players than ever. It's making more money than ever for Wizards. Like it's just booming and booming and booming through the pandemic, and we haven't seen like a bubble burst. Like there's again the comparison to some wargaming, like Warhammer. You've seen their shares dip and sales dip a little bit as they come out of the pandemic because less people at home painting, they're out doing stuff.
That was a big thing over the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly.
Like painting miniatures.
But Magic isn't like that, and isn't like that, and it's continuing to grow and be this huge thing. So I do believe we have the space, and we have the players, and we have the game to have a glorious combination of you got a massive hall, you've got CommandFest on one side, you've got a GP main event here, and you're firing side events for everything and anything. Old school, legacy, modern, standard, chaos drafts, mystery booster drafts, whatever the last 2 draft products were. And then weird stuff like we've been doing here, tribal wars and battle royales and stuff like that. You can fire all these things. I think they can all work together. At that point, you're just filling an NEC hall, you're filling a convention center, as it were, because we are like the biggest card game in the world, so we should be able to do that. And also, if we go wishlist style now, I want Wizards. Event companies can't do this. Axion can't do this. CFB couldn't do this. Cool Stuff couldn't do this. But Wizards should loss lead on some of the bigger ones. Paris's and London's and Vegas's. It shouldn't be, can we make some money on this event? Wizards should be like, nah, this has got to show Magic to the world.
Yeah.
You want to have the revised booster drafts where someone cracks a Lotus. And that gets into the New York Times for the next week and stuff like that. You want to put Magic on this world stage that Pokemon is kind of successful. We did over the pandemic with a lot of booms over their stuff, right? That's my dream. As Wizards are like, we're just going to throw money at this. Yeah. It's going to be so exciting. We're going to play everyone we can, and we're going to subsidize stuff for companies. So we'll get every artist there and every vendor there, and make it this really exciting thing. Because they can. They've got tons of money. They made $1 billion last year. Anyway, that's my
Pleasant
dream.
Kenobi's wish list. I love it. Cool. Well, this has been fantastic to take some time out and speak to you, and thank you for sacrificing
thank you. Thank you for
a few minutes to chat with us. It's
cool.
been an absolute pleasure,
Cheers.
man.